Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech, your weekend edition of what's trending in tech and gadgets. I'm really glad you could join us as we dig through the week's biggest tech headlines. We've done the reading, looked at the research, gathered our notes, all to pull out the stuff that really matters. We'll give you those key insights, maybe a few surprising facts, and hopefully keep it light enough to be, well, fun. The goal is simple: get you up to speed without making your head spin.
And yeah, this week was definitely eventful. We're seeing some pretty fundamental changes happening, plus a couple of moments that, really remind you how tangled up tech is in our everyday lives. Lots to unpack.
Absolutely. So our mission today, give you the essential lowdown on the top 5 stories that really shaped the tech and gadget world this week. Settle in because we're about to jump right in. Let's get started.
Google's Pixel 10 and the Tensor Revolution.
Okay, first up, Google's already making noise before their next big hardware event. That's happening August 20th, 2025 in New York City. They're teasing the latest on our Pixel phones, watches, buds, and more. Standard stuff, maybe. But what's the real story with this next Pixel lineup, especially the Pixel 10?
So the really transformative piece here is the chip inside, the Tensor G5. Google's making a huge shift, moving to TSMC's 3nm class N3E process. Now, that might sound like tech jargon, but it's the same advanced process Apple's using for the iPhone 16 Pro's chip. This isn't just about speed. It's Google really taking control, going deeper into vertical integration. Think of it like Apple's strategy controlling everything from the silicon right up to the AI. It's a foundational move, especially as AI on the device itself becomes more and more critical.
Vertical integration, right? That's a big strategic play for Google. But what does that actually mean for people using the phone? Are we going to feel that difference, or is it mostly behind the scenes?
Oh, you'll definitely feel it. The main goals of the G5 seem pretty clear: tackling heat and improving battery life. Anyone who's used, say, a Pixel 6 or 7 knows they could get a bit warm sometimes, right? And battery life wasn't always, top of the flagship class. So the Pixel 10 is rumored to have a serious new cooling system, maybe a vapor chamber, to deal with that heat directly. It's like Google's finally building the hardware muscle to really back up its AI ambitions. Plus, for the Pixel 10 Pro Fold, word is it'll get a bigger battery, over 5,000 mAh, and IP68 water resistance. That's actually a first for a foldable, which is great for durability concerns.
Better battery and water resistance on a foldable. That definitely sounds like a step up. Okay, but beyond power and staying cool, Google's known for its camera smarts, its AI photography. What's the G5 bringing there?
Yeah, this is where it gets pretty exciting. The G5 is set to seriously boost the AI capabilities for photos and videos. They're talking about things like temporal image stacking, basically letting the phone cleverly combine multiple shots over time for unique looks or maybe long exposure effects without a tripod. And computational zoom, think blending data from different camera sensors really smoothly, so when you zoom in video, it doesn't just jump jarringly between lenses. Oh, and there are strong rumors about satellite connectivity, too, for emergencies when you're off the grid. That's a potentially life-saving feature.
Right, so it sounds less about winning benchmark wars and more about, flagship efficiency and making the experience better in ways that actually matter day to day. And you can't forget their promise of 7 years of software updates. That makes buying one feel more like a long-term thing, doesn't it?
Exactly. It's a significant commitment.
The wireless world. Charging beyond your phone.
Okay, let's shift from what's in our pockets to how we power things up. Wireless charging. Most of us use it for our phones now. It's convenient, sure. But what are the downsides?
Well, the convenience is the big draw, obviously. No messing with cables, less wear on the phone's port. But yeah, there are trade-offs. It's generally not as energy efficient. One report said maybe 47% more power used compared to a cable. But honestly, for one phone, the actual energy cost difference is tiny, way less than leaving an LED bulb on. It can also create a bit more heat, and there's some debate, though nothing conclusive, about whether that affects long-term battery health. Plus, it's usually slower, and sometimes you have to place the phone just right.
Right. I've noticed that placement thing. Okay, that covers our personal gadgets. But the really interesting part is how this tech is scaling up, moving beyond phones. Where else is wireless power making a real difference?
This is where it gets pretty revolutionary, actually. Manufacturing is a huge area. Historically, that industry has been a bit slow on automation, but now they're really embracing it for higher output, less worker burnout, better quality. We're talking about the warehouse automation market possibly hitting something like $69 billion by 2025. And a huge majority, like 85% of companies, are planning automation projects soon.
Wow. And I guess wireless charging isn't just a nice extra for these automated factories. It's becoming pretty essential, right?
Precisely. You've got these AGVs, automated guided vehicles, and AMRs, autonomous mobile robots moving around. Wireless charging is key. There's this concept called opportunity charging. Imagine a robot just pausing for a few seconds or minutes during its normal workflow and getting a quick power boost. It keeps them running almost constantly, maximizing their uptime and, the return on investment. Plus, suppliers are making customizable charging pads now, different cable lengths, different ways for the charger and vehicle to talk to each other. That flexibility is huge. And security is vital too. You can't have someone hacking the charging system and messing up operations.
That factory efficiency makes a ton of sense. But I've also heard talk about wireless power coming into our homes, specifically the kitchen. Is that really going to happen? A cordless kitchen?
Absolutely. It's closer than you might think. The same group behind the Qi standard for phones, the Wireless Power Consortium, has been working on a standard called Qi for kitchen appliances for, well, over a decade now. Philips and Hare were pushing this way back in 2013. The idea is exactly that, a kitchen without appliance cords cluttering the countertops. Qi can deliver serious power, up to 2.2 kilowatts, which is enough for pretty much anything in the kitchen. And it works through countertops, marble, wood, granite, whatever, as long as it's not metal. Safety's built in, too. Lift the appliance, the power cuts off instantly. Companies like Cloen and Porcelanosa are already showing off countertops and furniture with this tech built right in. It's about making tech invisible, more seamless.
Wow, a truly cordless kitchen. That sounds neat. And maybe a little futuristic still.
It's coming.
Foldable phones, durability, AI, and market evolution.
All right, let's switch over to another market that's just constantly changing, foldable smartphones. They definitely still grab attention, but what's really pushing them forward now? Are they moving beyond just being cool gadgets?
Yeah, they're certainly trying to move past that initial wow factor. Globally, shipments hit about 17.2 million units in 2024. That surge was partly a response to, regular smartphones feeling a bit stagnant. People wanted something new. But that super fast growth is starting to level off a bit. It means the market needs some new reasons, new drivers, to keep people interested in buying.
Okay, that makes sense. So what about how people feel about them? Durability was always a big question mark, and let's face it, those prices are still pretty high. Are companies tackling those issues?
They absolutely are. On the price front, vendors are positioning them as the ultimate high-end devices, sometimes pushing prices way up, like close to $2,800. It helps their brand image, shows innovation. And durability. Huge strides have been made. We're seeing much better hinge designs like the water drop style and stronger flexible glass. They talk about folding cycles now being up around 500,000 times, which is way up, like 150% more than early models. Plus, more are getting IPX8 water resistance. They're even focused on making them thinner, tackling that sort of final 1mm gap challenge. Companies like OPView are pushing for what they call the 8mm era for the book-style foldables, getting them closer to regular phone thickness.
Right. Speaking of durability, though, didn't some Samsung Fold 7 demo unit have hinge issues recently? Does that throw cold water on the improvements?
Yeah, that report came out. But it's really important to remember that demo units in stores get handled, folded, and probably abused way more than your average phone ever would. So while it's not great press, it might not reflect the actual durability for a typical owner. The overall trend is definitely towards much tougher foldables. But honestly, what's becoming really crucial now, maybe even more than just physical toughness, is generative AI. That's seen as a key factor to make foldables truly useful.
Okay, interesting. So how does Gen AI actually make a foldable better? Is it more than just a gimmick on a folding screen?
It really leverages that big, flexible display in ways a normal phone can't. For work stuff, you get a proper tablet-sized space for emails, spreadsheets, presentations. You see things like OPPO's AI assistants for documents. It can summarize a long document you're looking at or generate talking points right there on that big screen. Photo and video editing. Much easier with more space. Plus, AI tools like AI Eraser to remove unwanted objects or AI Unblur to fix shots become more powerful on a larger canvas. Live translation feels more natural on a split screen, one side showing your language, the other side the translation. And multitasking running two apps side by side, that's where foldables always had potential. And AI screen split tools can even suggest useful app pairings.
Okay, I can see how that makes the form factor much more practical, turning the big screen into a real asset for AI tools. So with all that, what's the outlook for foldables? Are they set to really take off?
Well, the forecasts are pretty strong, actually. They're predicting shipments could basically double over the next 3 years. The drivers are seen as this combination of, yes, generative AI making them more useful, but also the whole ecosystem experience getting better, new form factors maybe, longer lifespans, getting them lighter and thinner, and just costs coming down as they make more of them.
The Fitbit outage, a reminder of tech reliance.
Let's shift gears now to something probably a bit more relatable for many of us recently. An issue that really hit home, how much we lean on our tech. What exactly went down with Fitbit this week?
Yeah, that was a rough one for Fitbit users. On July 17th, they had a major outage. Basically, people couldn't sync their trackers, Fitbits, Google Pixels watches to the app, so no data was getting uploaded. And even worse, if you tried uninstalling the app to fix it, you couldn't log back in at all, stuck. All that activity data, sleep data, just floating in limbo on the device.
Oof, I can just imagine the frustration, especially if you're someone who really uses that data, not just for casual steps, right?
Exactly. It was a huge pain, particularly for people maybe training seriously for something like a marathon, or people who rely on it to monitor a health condition like atrial fibrillation detection. Consistent data is kind of the whole point there. It really highlights that idea of a useful tool sometimes becoming a bit of a crutch, and when that crutch suddenly breaks, well, the impact feels pretty significant. It reminded a lot of people of that multi-day Garmin outage a while back, similar kind of widespread panic and frustration, showing just how reliant we've become.
That phrase, a tool becoming a crutch, really resonates. It does make you stop and think. Thankfully, the fix for Fitbit did roll out. People could sync and log in again. But it's a stark reminder, isn't it? How much do we want to depend on these things? And what's our backup when they inevitably glitch? Maybe sometimes it's good to just work by feel, listen to our bodies a bit more.
Definitely a good takeaway. A little tech detox, forced or otherwise, can be humbling.
Automation's continued march in manufacturing.
So just to circle back quickly to those bigger industrial trends we touched on with wireless charging, looking at manufacturing and supply chains again, how is that automation push really playing out? Is it all smooth sailing?
Well, the push is definitely strong. We're seeing data showing that something like 73% of companies have actually increased their spending on automation recently. But here's the interesting bit. Despite pouring more money into it, a lot of these advanced automation tools are apparently still being underutilized. There's this gap between buying the tech and actually getting the full value out of it. Huge untapped potential there.
Underutilized despite the investment. That is interesting. So what kind of new tech are we seeing deployed that shows this ambition, but maybe also hints at why it's hard to fully integrate everything?
We're seeing some cool examples. Like Optologic has this new enterprise teams feature designed to help different departments in a supply chain collaborate in real time, break down those old silos. Or look at Schneider Electric. They've launched a platform specifically focused on helping companies track and reduce carbon emissions throughout their entire supply chain, like across all their different suppliers. It's getting really sophisticated. It all kind of reinforces that managing inventory effectively, often with AI now, is still that absolutely critical link holding the whole supply chain strategy together. The challenge is often just getting all these different powerful pieces to work together perfectly.
Right, making all the complex parts talk to each other seamlessly. Always the challenge. Outro. Wow, okay, we really covered some ground today. From Google's big chip strategy in the Pixel 10 and wireless power potentially taking over our kitchens and factories, to foldables getting smarter with AI, and that Fitbit reality check about tech reliance.
It really does show how technology isn't just, improving incrementally anymore. It's weaving itself deeper into basically everything. Our daily habits, how businesses operate globally. Sometimes you don't even notice until something breaks or a new capability just changes how you do things.
Absolutely. And it leaves you with a thought, doesn't it? As tech gets embedded even more deeply, how comfortable are we with that reliance? And what happens when those systems we count on inevitably stumble? Something to maybe chew on over your weekend.
Indeed. A good question to ponder.
Well, that's it for this week's Deep Dive. If you enjoyed the chat, please do like, comment, share this with anyone you think might find it interesting, and definitely subscribe for more tech discussions.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
We'll catch you on the next one.